Evening, everybody. Well, it's about 5:30 and it's Saturday. I'm doing this a day early because I might not be around tomorrow. Once again, big thank you for everybody for watching and giving up your time to listen to me go on. It's much appreciated. Something that I became aware of when you actually do things like this is a sense of responsibility that goes along with it. And I had a thought, and it's about leaving the organisation. When you start the awakening process, you go through a lot of emotions, and we're not just talking little emotions, we're talking tsunami-sized emotions that are like being knocked round the head by a frying pan. The first one of disbelief, and then that disbelief, you a bit of acceptance, and then you start to look at the video or get the information, and then it starts to sink in, and then there's another emotion that starts to surface, and it comes with a bit of a whoosh, because a lot of, if you ever see Kim and Mikey's videos, which I recommend you to do, they're absolutely fantastic. Even though they've been away from the organisation, it's still very, very present. And that one emotion starts off as being slightly disgruntled, and it turns into being livid. I think livid is the only real word to describe it. Absolutely livid. That you have been taken for, well, no, I won't go down that. You're livid because all those weekends you could have spent taking the kids out. All those weekends you could have spent family time. You could have spent it with grandparents. You could have spent it with other people. You could have been spending it out in the countryside, enjoying creation. So much you could have done. And you've lost, and you're not going to get it back. And that makes you very, very annoyed. And it doesn't tend to get any less. You just live with it a little bit more, learn to manage it a little bit. Now, the reason I'm doing this video today is because when that hits you and you realise what's gone on, what you're being told, how you're being catastrophically misled, your initial response is, and this is really important, I pray anybody who's watched my videos to listen to this and just take a step back. You want to, the initial response, a couple called Mark and Cora, and their videos are brilliant as well. Boy, she's gorgeous. Oh boy, she is lovely. I struggle watching them sometimes. Oh. Anyway, Mark and Cora. Now, they again, as like many people, when it dawns on you and you first realise what you want to do is go, yeah. You want to get, that letter written out, I no longer want to be known as a Jehovah's Witness, that thing, and disassociate yourself. But as we know, and if you're a witness on the peripherals, you won't know this because it's all done in secret. But there are literally hundreds of videos on here from people that have been asked to attend judicial hearings, and they didn't go. Kim and Mikey, just for one instance, they didn't go, thought, I'm not going. And then the next thing they know, they've been disfellowshipped even though they weren't there. And that goes against all the kind of rules that the organisation put in place. But it happens. It happens. And it happened to me, it happened to them, it happened to nearly everybody. And there's a reason. There's a reason for this. I'm going to use a bit of a parable, if you're in, as you know, my work with the police, work with all different kind of elements, and one element is people who are in abusive domestic relationships. If the husband is mistreating the wife, it can be a cultural thing, it can be a thing, but if the husband is mistreating the wife, he doesn't want her to be going down to school and speaking to the missuses at school. Because I think, oh goodness, she has a real nice relationship with her husband. He really loves her and looks after her and cherishes her. And she doesn't have to do all this work, and she doesn't have to do this, she doesn't have to do that, and so that controlling man doesn't want his wife mixing with people outside of that family hub. Certain keep them locked in there, so don't want them going out. A lot of it's to do with the dress, that I'm sure you'd be aware of. All one big reason: they do not want them mixing with anybody outside of that abusive relationship, because they may see the other side. And that is exactly what you've got with the organisation. If you choose to fade, as in you just stop going to meetings, you stop fading, you will get the call. You will get the call, and it will probably be, can you come to some, come call and can we speak to you? At that, if you allow them, I would say don't allow them. Say, I'm very busy, put it off. You stay in control. Do not give the control to them. Now, if you write a letter saying, I no longer want to be associated, you're kind of giving control to them, because they'll read that and think, oh, goodness, excuse me, they're outside of the relationship, they might be speaking to other people, we'll just disfellowship them anyway. Or we'll invite you to a judicial hearing and then you can't attend and you'll get disfellowshipped anyway. It's all over the internet, just keep watching the videos. So I would suggest is you play it along. You say, oh, I'm just very, very busy, or we're deciding we're going to another congregation, or we're doing whatever. You keep in control. Do not give it to them. Do not write a letter. Do not say, I don't want to be known as a Jehovah's Witness. Play the game your way. Keep in control. And that way, you'll still keep your friends. You'll still keep everybody else. Just say, oh, yeah, don't really have a conversation. Don't really have a conversation. I'm very busy. We've got a lot on. We've got plenty on. We don't really have time for this. We're associated. We're going to see our friends who live 100 miles away. We spend a lot of time with those. That's what we're doing. Just keep push. Keep control. Might not go on forever. You might not get away with it forever. But at some point, whatever you do, if you write that letter, no longer to be associated, there's chances are, as we saw with this year's convention, the advice was to treat faders or treat people who weren't attending the same as disfellowship people. That was the message from the platform. They're a risk. They are a risk to this organisation. If they are fading and they are seeing it from the outside, they're a risk, because they may let you know what's actually going on. All the subterfuge, all the lies, and all the deceit. So that's really just what I wanted to say today, because I'd feel a little bit guilty, if people watch my videos, take the time, your own time to do it, and watch it, and then say, hell, I can't believe this. I'm going to go and give them one. I'm going to go and say, I want to be known as a witness. I'm just associating myself. I don't want to be. And at which point you give them control, and they will say, ooh, that brother and sister, they've got militant thoughts. Next thing you know, you'll be disfellowshipped, and all that goes along with it. And I think being disfellowshipped, I was trying to think of something that's similar to being disfellowshipped, and I couldn't really, if you've got a disease, I don't think that's as bad as being disfellowshipped. As a contagious disease, I don't think that's as bad. The only thing I could really think of is when you are tarnished with disfellowshipped, or the opposite word, you like being tarnished as if you're saying you are a child abuser of the worst, who preys on little kids. I mean, really, really little kids. The worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. And that's what you targeted. So a few weeks ago, you were a brother and sister who everybody loved. And now you are the scum of the earth and nobody can even talk to you. That is a massive leap. You go from one to the other. And by writing a letter or by saying you don't want to be associated, you're increasing that speed to that side. And so I would say, give it some thought, but stay in control. Do not give them the power or the opportunity to say, right, we're disfellowshipping, because they've got radical thinking, they don't want to be known, they've changed, whatever. Because you wouldn't think that they would disfellowship you without you being there, but they will. They will. Videos, hundreds of them. I'm instance, loads and loads of people. So please, even though that overriding anger, don't let it get the better of you. Take a deep breath, sit down and say, right, we're going to play this. our way. We're going to stay in control. We're not going to give them the control, and we're going to do it in our own time, in our own way. Okay, thanks an absolute bunch for watching this, if you have watched it. And I will, I'll probably do another one. I keep saying I'm doing this one on the Bible, but I'll do it next Sunday if I can. So thank you. Have a great weekend, and I'll get my next video done shortly. Thank you much. Bye bye.